Just Greeks and Beats, Episode 6, Pame Nisia, Part 2. Καλώς ήρθατε στην έκτη εκπομπή μου. Hey guys, and welcome to my 6th episode of Just Greeks and Beats, the podcast series. My name is Valandi, and as always, I'm ready to deliver another cheeky podcast episode full of informative delights, just like a big, fat, juicy piece of galaktobouriko. Yes, galaktobouriko is a Greek custard dessert that is made up with layers of thin filo pastry and drenched in a sexy golden syrup. All right, now that I have you drooling, it is time to undo the belt, to our padalonia, put on some comfy track pants, and get right into part 2 of Pame Nisia. In my previous edition, Pame Nisia Part 1, we talked about the many family groups of the islands in Greece, and we zoned into the Dodekanissa, focusing on roads. I discussed some of the ancient architecture and symbolic places that still exist today on this beautiful island. We also spoke about some popular food on the island and the drinks of Rhodes and some of the must-visit tourist places. Just briefly, I would like to quickly make mention of one other island of the Dodekanissa, which is absolutely stunning and special before we get into the episode, Crete. I want to introduce to you Kalymnos, the island of sponge divers. The history of Kalymnos is parallel to the history of the other Dodekanissa islands. Kalymnos has been inhabited since the pre-Minoan times. During the Archaic period, the distance of the Dodekanissa from Athens gave autonomy to these islands, including Kalymnos, and freedom from the imperial Athens. With the rise of the Macedonian Empire, Kalymnos, as well as other islands of the group, became part of it. After the death of Alexander the Great, one of his successors, Ptolemy I of Egypt, took control of all the islands of the Dodekanissa. The inhabitants of the group were the first Greeks to convert to Christianity because St. Paul and St. John made a stop there to preach their faith. During the early Byzantine times, Kalymnos was flourishing like all of the other islands of the group, but by the 7th century AD, the invaders took advantage of the vulnerable strategic position of those islands. In the 14th century, the Knights of the St. John of Jerusalem ruled Kalymnos, along with the Dodekanissa, and built the castle of Chrysocheria, the castle of golden hands, to protect it. The Turkish rule followed in 1955 and ended in 1912 when the Italians took their place. When the Italians surrendered during the war campaign of the Dodekanissa, the Germans and then the British fought to take control over the islands of the Dodekanissa, causing great damages and sufferings amongst the population. Kalymnos was united to the newly built Greek state with the rest of the Dodekanissa in 1947. In 1960s, the economy of Kalymnos, based on sponge fishing, gradually declined and many residents migrated to the mainland Greece and other parts of the world. Here in Australia, we have a huge Kalymnian population. In fact, 85% of Greeks living in Darwin, Northern Territory of Australia, are descendants of Kalymnos. Here in Adelaide, we even have a zachoroplastio called Kalymnos pastries, which originates from a pastry store on the actual island of Kalymnos. Yasu Re Yorgo, with your amazing MILFs and cocks. Guys, relax. A MILF is a Greek custard dessert with layers of filo pastry and a cock. K-O-K is a Greek donut, or better known as a yo-yo with custard and chocolate tops. Greek food, yum. The island is mainly barren, except for the two fertile valleys of Vathus and Bothia, where olives, oranges and vines are grown. There is also an ostrich farm on Argos near the Kalymnian airport. Hey, no wonder so many Kalymnians migrated to Australia. Ostrich, emu, same re, same, τα ίδια. The majority of Kalymnians are Orthodox Christians. The island belongs to that small part of Greece that does not depend on the Church of Greece, but rather on the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinople, based in what's now known as Istanbul. Kalymnos belongs to the metropolis of Leros, Kalymnos, and Astipalea. Kalymnos is very well known and billed as the Sponge Divers Island. Sponge diving has long been a common occupation on Kalymnos, and sponges were the main source of income for Kalymnians, bringing wealth to the island and making it famous throughout the Mediterranean. The Kalymnians harvested sponges from the seabed as close as Pserimos or as far as the north of Africa. Early diving was done without equipment, so free diving, using a harpoon. Sponges are still fished individually by hand. An annual celebration, Sponge Week, occurs a week after Easter to honour its Kalymnian gold. Much has been written, sung and filmed about the legendary courageous and recklessness of the sponge divers themselves. Before we move to Crete and its beauty, here is the fun fact. It has been said that the Dodekanissa was the birthplace of the great philosopher Cleovulos, the Lindian, the founder of medicine, Hippocrates, and Theocritus, one of the best literate figures. During the Roman years, Rhodes forced the Romans to come into terms with the maritime law, the first maritime law in the world history, while Kos Island initiated them to the Hippocratic medicine and the fundamental laws of nature. All right, so that wraps up my segment on the Dodekanissa, and now I'm getting excited to talk about one of my most favorite places on earth. This is an island I have visited twice in my life, and I was booked to go again this year, but unfortunately had to postpone. Crete is special to me because of my love and passion of ancient Greek history, and Crete is full of amazing history. Personally, I feel that ancient Greek history was born in Crete. Well, look, that's my opinion anyway. Before I do divulge into Crete's awesomeness, I want to make sure that you guys are comfortable and really turned up the notch on your Gefi meter, because mine is burning red hot and I'm ready to burst into a tsifteteli. Pame. All right, Crete is the largest and most populous of the Greek islands, the 88th largest island in the world and the 5th largest island in the Mediterranean Sea after Sicily, Sardinia, Cyprus and Corsica. It bounds the southern border of the Aegean Sea, and Crete lies approximately 160 kilometers south of the Greek mainland. It has an area of 8,336 square kilometers and a coastline of 1,046 kilometers. Crete and a number of surrounding islands and isles constitute the region of Crete, the Periferia tis Kritis. The southernmost of the 13 top-level administrative units of Greece. The region is the 5th most populous region of Greece. Its capital and the largest city is Heraklion, located on the northern shore of the island. Currently, the population of Crete is estimated to be just shy of 700,000 people. Humans have inhabited the island since at least 130,000 years ago, during the Paleolithic age. Crete was the center of Europe's first advanced civilization, the Minoans, from around 2700 BC, which then was overrun by the Mycenaean civilization from mainland Greece, as did many of the island groups that were mentioned in last episode. Later, Crete fell under Roman rule, and afterwards the Byzantine Empire, then the Venetian Republic, followed by the Ottoman Empire, and then the Cretan people who maintained a desire to join the Greek state achieved independence from the Ottomans in 1898, as the Cretan state had become part of Greece in December 1913. Crete forms a significant part of the economy and cultural heritage of Greece, while retaining its own local culture traits, such as its poetry and music. We'll get into that a little bit later. The Nikos Kazantzakis Airport at Heraklion and the Daskalogiannis Airport at Chania serve international travelers. The Palace of Knossos, a Bronze Age settlement and an ancient Minoan city, lies in Heraklion. The island has an elongated shape which spans 260 kilometers from the east to the west and is about 60 kilometers at its widest point. Crete covers an area of 8,336 square kilometers with a coastal line of 1,046 kilometers, and as mentioned, it lays approximately 100 kilometers south of Greek mainland. Heraklion is the largest city and the capital of Crete. The island is split into 6 states, and the principal cities are Heraklion, Chania, Rethymno, Hierapetra, Agios Nikolaos, and Sitia. Just briefly going back to the history of Crete, under the Minoan era, Crete had a highly developed literate civilization. It has been ruled by various ancient Greek entities, the Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire, the Emirates of Crete, the Republic of Venice, and the Ottoman Empire. After a brief period of independence, under the provisional Cretan government, it joined the Kingdom of Greece. Yeah, that's right. Greece once was a monarchy with a king and queen. Who would have ever thought that? In 2002, the paleontologist Gerard Gialinski discovered fossil footprints left by ancient human relatives from around 5,600,000 years ago. I ask myself, what if the mythical minotaur of the labyrinth was actually some sort of dinosaur? But then again, I remembered, hey, they existed 65 million years ago, not 5.6 million years ago. As mentioned, Crete and the center of Europe's first advanced civilization was the Minoans. Tablets, and I'm not talking, like iPad tablets, we're talking stone tablets, inscribed in Linear A, have been found in numerous sites around Crete and a few in the Aegean Islands. The Minoans established themselves in many islands besides ancient Crete, and many Minoan relics were found on these off-islands such as Kaya, Kythera, Milos, Rhodes, and above all, Thera. Archaeologists have identified and uncovered the palace complex at Knossos, the most famous Minoan site. This palace was built above a mystical labyrinth. Other palace sites in Crete, such as Phaistos, uncovered magnificent stone-built, multi-story palaces containing drainage systems, and the queen of the time had a bath that had a flushing toilet. I do wonder what they used to wipe themselves back then. I mean, you go to Greece today, and modern-day Greece, we cannot flush toilet paper down the toilet, even after a really, really nasty fasolava. Amazes me. The expertise displayed in this hydraulic engineering was of a very high level. There was no defensive walls to any of these complexes. By the 16th century BC, pottery and other remains on the Greek mainland showed that the Minoans had far-reaching contacts out on the mainland. In the 16th century, a major earthquake caused destruction on Crete. By about the 15th century BC, a massive volcanic explosion known as the Minoan eruption blew off the island of Thera, which is in Santorini, casting a huge explosion and generating such a massive tsunami in the enclosed Aegean Sea that any fleet along the north shore of Crete was destroyed, and this was including majority of the Cretan fleet that had kept the island secure from the Greek-speaking mainlanders. Mycenaean Greeks from the mainland then took over Knossos and all of Crete, rebuilding some of the parts to suit them. They were in turn invaded by a successive Dorian migration. Early Cretan history is full of legends such as those of King Minos, Theseus, and the Minotaur, and they've all been passed down orally via poets such as Homer. Crete has a rich mythology, mostly connected with the ancient Greek gods, but also connected with the Minoan civilization. According to Greek mythology, the Dictaean cave at Mount Victi was the birthplace of the god Zeus. The Paximathia Islands were the birthplace of the goddess Artemis and the god Apollo. Their mother, the goddess Leto, was worshipped at Phaistos. The goddess Athena bathed at Lake Voulismeni. The ancient Greek god Zeus launched a lightning bolt at a giant lizard that was threatening Crete, and that lizard immediately turned into stone and became the island of Dia, which can be seen from Knossos and is the shape of a giant island. The Isles of Lefkei were the result of a musical contest between the Sirens and the Muses. The Muses were so anguished to have lost that competition that they plucked the feathers from the wings of their rivals. The Sirens turned white and fell into the sea at Aptera, which means featherless, where they formed the island in the bay that were called Lefkei. Hercules is said to have taken one of the Cretan bulls to Peloponnesos. Europa and Zeus made love at Gortys and conceived the kings of Crete, Rhadamanthys, Sarpedon, Minos. The labyrinth of the palace of Knossos was the setting for the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur, in which the Minotaur was slain by Theseus. Icarus and Daedalus were captives of King Minos and crafted wings to escape. After his death, King Minos became a judge of the dead in Hades, while Rhadamanthys became the ruler of the Elysian fields. Wow. Today, Crete is one of the most popular holiday destinations in Greece. More than 2 million tourists visit Crete every year, and the island's tourism infrastructure caters to all tastes, including a very wide range of accommodation. The island's facilities take in the large luxury of hotels with their complete facilities, swimming pools, sports and recreation, smaller family-owned apartments, camping facilities, and many other type of accommodation. Popular tourist attractions include the archaeological sites of the Minoan civilization, the Venetian Old City, and the port of Chania, the Venetian castle at Rethymno, and the gorge of Samaria, the islands of Chrysi, Elafonisi, Gamvusa, and the palm beach of Vai, which is the largest natural palm forest in Europe. The music of Crete, also called Kritika, refers to traditional forms of Greek folk music prevalent on the island of Crete in Greece. The main instrument in Crete is the lyra and the lauto. Crete has its own distinctive madinades, which is a poetry. This is a fast-paced continuous lyric over a repetitive beat. I personally like to call it the Greek rap. Have a listen.
Ήθελα να γεννώ πουλί να βγω στο ψιλορίτι. Ψιλορίτι. Όπα να βγω στο ψιλορίτι για να γνατεύω από ψηλά τις ομορφιές σου Κρήτη. Όπα ήθελα να ήμουν ετός στα σύννεφα να ανέβω. Γεια σου στρατηγέ. Στα σύννεφα να ανέβω κι από τα ευπουράνια την Κρήτη να γνατεύω.
Ah, yes. How good was that? Some of the famous people born in Crete are Nikolaos Kazantzakis, an author born in Heraklion, 7 times nominee for the World Nobel Prize. Nikos Xylouris, a famous composer and a singer. Nana Mouskouri, a famous singer born in Chania. Nikos Zoidakis, a modern-day traditional artist. Eleftherios Venizelos, the former Greek Prime Minister born in Chania. Konstantinos Mitsotakis, which is the nephew of Eleftherios Venizelos and an ex-Prime Minister of Greece, who is also the father of Greece's current Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis. Crete also has its own unique and special cuisine, and also very famous for its wine. Cretan wine has a long history since wine was certainly being made by the Minoans. Wines from Crete are not listed among those specially prized in classical Greece, but under the Roman Empire in the 2nd century AD, Crete was known for a sweet wine, protopros, which was exported to Italy. In the late medieval Europe, in the 14th and 16th centuries, Vino di Candia, which is the old name for Heraklion, Candia, and Crete are wine names listed as highly valued in several sources from the Western and Northern Europe. They were sweet and hot wines, hot in a dietary sense. Within the current classification of Greek wine, there are several Cretan styles, including Beza, Archanes, Daphnes, and Sitia. Crete is also well known for my favorite spirit, rakomelo, which is a digestive spirit traditionally used by many Greeks as a home remedy for a sore throat or cough. Rakomelo is made by combining raki or tsipuro, 2 types of grape pomace grandi, with honey and several spices such as cinnamon. It is produced in Crete, chiefly consumed during the winter and as a warm drink. Rakomelo can be found here in Adelaide, made and bottled by Victoria Spirits of Croydon, South Australia, by the Christopoulos family. Well, guys, that was my main segment to my episode this week. And I tell you what, having just finished my recording, I'm ready to pack my bags, jump on the next flight to Crete. So, ScoMo, ade, ξεκίνα. Please open the borders and let us fly to the motherland, reality. To finish off, guys, I will once again combine some language and cheeky fun. Ade, Pame. Different cultures tend to produce their own phrases, and meanings aren't always the same across the borders. Here I have come up with my top 10 phrases only Greeks use that if you try to literally translate into English, they will not make any sense to you. Don't worry, guys. I have translated them properly for you so you know how to use these on your next vacation to Greek. Disclaimer, some of these are rude. All right, let's go. A Greek doesn't say, I have no idea what's going on. They say, I have lost my eggs and baskets. Έχω χάσει τα αυγά και τα καλάθια. A Greek doesn't say, make your life hell. He makes your life a roller skate. Σου κάνει τη ζωή πατίνι. In Greece, a situation doesn't just get out of hand. It turns into a whore's fence post. Αχ, έχει γίνει της πουτάνας το γκάγγελο. A Greek isn't just doing nothing. He's swatting flies. Αυτός βαράει μύγες. A Greek house isn't just messy. It's a brothel. Ρε, έχει καταντήσει μπουρδέλο. A Greek isn't just very busy. They're running without arriving. Τρέχει και δεν φτάνει. A Greek doesn't just irritate you. They break your nerves. Σου σπάει τα νεύρα. In Greece, something isn't unbearable. It can't be fought. Άστο, δεν παλεύεται. Greeks aren't just exhausted. They are in pieces. Έχω γίνει κομμάτια. And lastly, a Greek person isn't just high and mighty or a diva. They are astride a reed. Έχει καβαλήσει καλάμι. Excellent. Very, very good. Guys, there you have it. Like I said, there's plenty more, but we will leave that for another time because that brings us to the end of another podcast episode of Just Greeks and Beats. What an episode it was. And as always, would really love to hear your feedback, guys. So please feel free to visit my Facebook or Instagram page by searching Gephi Live Radio, or even just send me an email, admin@gephi.live. In episode 7, I'll be taking you all on a bit of a journey to the Kyklades, another favourite set of islands for me. Don't forget that you can also tune into my weekly radio show where I get to play all the new, loved and classical Greek beats over 2 hours, live streamed every Monday night from 8 to 10 p.m. via facebook.com/Gephi Live Radio. This is Valandi, and I will keep your Gephi streaming.